So gacha games are starting to get more impressive as the years go on, with some gacha games having some similar qualities to other AA or even AAA titles that are out there. But gacha games are really have the most recent ones have really been going on this open world aspect and really focusing on this action RPG, especially when most gacha games are technically just turn based, right? So that has really become the staple, and Genshin Impact, Wuthering Waves, Zenless Zone Zero, and a few others out there. But this new gacha open world anime RPG called Silver Palace is now making waves with this unique blend of detective work and a Victorian era aesthetic. Now, Ananta, or formerly known as Project Mugen, and Neverness to Everness are on the horizon. But the real question is, can Silver Palace be just that next big thing that could even be bigger than them? Or will it just drop in the ocean of gachas? So let's dive into what we could expect from Silver Palace, recent announcement trailer, and gameplay showcase. First thing I want to talk about is just the overall pre-registration and just the early buzz of the hype that is surrounding this gacha. So right now, the global pre-registrations are now live. You can go on their official website. You can register for PC, iOS, and Android. Now, currently, as we speak, there are no specific milestone rewards that haven't really been widely publicized, but the act of pre-registering is crucial for developers to gauge interest in the game as a whole. Now, the part that I want to kind of discuss a little bit about now is that what are the actual typical pre-registration rewards that we can expect from gacha games? Will Silver Palace offer just the enticing bonuses like maybe a lot of premium currency, maybe some free character pools, or just exclusive cosmetic items to really just help drive signups? Because this is their first announcement. This was very just boom out of nowhere. So they definitely want to entice people to try to come register to be able to try out their game. Now, you did notice that I said the registrations are for PC, iOS, and Android, but the game will officially be confirmed for consoles as well. So right now you can only pre-register if you're on PC or mobile, but consoles don't have no pre-registrations as of this moment. So hopefully we'll try to see how that goes towards the actual official launch, because the next question is how does the multi-platform availability that will impact the game's overall design and optimization? Will there be cross-save or even cross-play, which I would hope that is kind of the norm for a lot of games now. Let me sign in, and what I do on my phone, I can go home and do on my PC, and then if I want to play on my console, I should be able to do that as well. The fact that it's targeting consoles, though, could suggest that it may have a higher production value than many mobile-only gachas that are out there. So that's another thing that we're starting to notice, that these gacha games are getting so big that they're being kind of seen like these almost like a AA or AAA open world games that we have out there. So the initial reception and hype is definitely showcased in this, because there's really a lot of people who were astonished when the first trailer came out and was just holy shit, this is going to be a good gacha game. The reveal trailer overall has gained quite a crazy significant traction. The overall reveal trailer has gained some traction. Both trailers, the gameplay showcase and the trailer, I think the gameplay showcase had about 500,000 views, as well as the overall reveal trailer had close to 700,000. So there's definitely over 1 million people that were interested in this game. And if I'm not mistaken, there are some reports just from some of the news articles I've seen recently that they have almost at this point over 1 million pre-registrations within the week. So the early hype tells us that the gacha community's appetite for either fresh concepts or high fidelity titles is really it's almost like it's necessary, right? We always have a lot of gacha games, but these games are gonna be the cornerstones of AAA quality for mobile games. So it gives mobile users who only play on mobile a nice big game to bite into, and theoretically, and it's a free gacha game, right? So the market is quite oversaturated, or is there room for innovative entries? And with all of these new gacha games coming out, like Ananta or even Neverness to Everness, And as with our past ones with Wuthering Waves, Zealous Zone Zero, there's always room for innovation, and it's showcasing that a lot of people in the mobile market, it has been wanting just major big games. Because, you know, consoles and PC, we get all the open world RPGs. We get a lot of them. AAA, AA does not matter. We get them a lot. So gachas are definitely up there. They're finally becoming a cornerstone, like pillars, so to speak, in the gacha industry. So we move on to some of the gameplay mechanics that I've noticed during the overall showcase. So one thing that we need to make known is that the core pillar of this entire game is being a detective. So we basically play as a detective in a city called Silvernia. This basically allows us to investigate crime scenes, gather clues. We can even interrogate NPCs. We can even scan civilians to see if they're disguised monsters. And now my question is, how deep will the investigative element be? Will it genuinely be engaging with like meaningful choices or even puzzles? Or is it kind of just a superficial mechanic where like it really doesn't matter too much? Like you can basically do whatever and it does not change your outcome. Like how good of a detective are you could maybe change the outcome of the mission. I would kind of like to see a little bit of that stuff as well. This right here, this main mechanic is definitely a strong differentiating from other action RPG gachas that are out there. Next, we were able to also see some of the combat. Now, overall feel, just by looking at it, you get that fast pace, the fluid action combat. You know, you can also switch, do like real-time character switching up to the 4 characters in a team. There's a little bit of parry mechanic I saw. There are also stealth sequences as well. And there are, which was stated, there's going to be quick time events, combos to, you know, help finish off enemies. Now, overall, just my first reaction looking at this, my immediate comparisons was like, man, this feels like Zenless Zone, Wuthering Waves, Genshin, just like the hyperactive combat with the character switching in and out. And I also just want to see how deep do the combat goes compared to other established titles that are out there. Will the QTEs feel engaging, or will it be a little bit more interruptive, so it kind of like throws you out of the loop when it comes to combat? And just how good or how diverse the combat styles of the different characters, like how fun each characters play. Is there a good synergy between having a good team or not? Like I would definitely like to see a lot from this game. The next thing that we also noticed during the overall showcase is that the way they traverse. So there's a horse in the gameplay showcase that you can just run, but then you can drift with the horse, which threw me off. I was like, what the hell? Where he's literally drifting the horse, but then the horse can now fly. So you can theoretically travel around the city by either flying or just using your drifting horse. You can also, there's a lot of verticality. You can climb on rooftops. You can go from rooftop to rooftop, finding different little goodies, little Easter eggs, stuff like that. Like there's an emphasis on open world exploration. But the bigger question is, how open will the open world truly be? Will these traversal methods make exploration enjoyable and efficient, or will they feel clunky, right? The flying marks are a significant, you know, visual and as well as a gameplay draw. So it's definitely interesting. I like when devs try to do something a little bit out of the box, a little bit out of the ordinary. And then of course, the last thing that was not really showcased, but it's just an overall question for the community is, as a gacha game, because yes, this is a gacha game, how will the progression and acquiring the characters overall be, right? How friendly is the gacha system? What are the chances for obtaining said desired characters or banner featured characters? Will there be a nice good blend between free to play, or will it be more leaning to pay to win? You really gotta have both, because one thing that I've noticed throughout the times I've played a lot of gacha games is like you gotta satiate both audiences, right? You got to have enough goodies that free-to-play enjoyers can actually play, but you got to have enough goodies at that end of that tunnel for your whales out there, for your pay-to-win people who have the power of the fucking credit card. You want to help out both parties. Next, we want to talk a little bit about the story premise. Now, This world is set in a prosperous, industrialized metropolis with a distinct Victorian aesthetic. The city's prosperity is fueled by something called Severium, which is some revolutionary element that has transformed technology and just daily life, but it attracts a lot of different bad stuff as well. So this was just a little bit of information I gathered just from looking at their website and looking at other news articles to kind of piece together what exactly is going on. Now, the Victorian setting is quite a relatively unique unique location, I would say, like world to explore in for a gacha RPG. Like, how will they blend like the historical aesthetic with fantasy and sci-fi elements, like some of the powers and monsters and stuff like that. But overall, just looking as you travel, you can really tell that there's a lot going on. And then of course we have our main character, which is the detective. There is a male and female option for them, so you get to have the waifu or the husbando. And theoretically, we are returning back to Silvernia after 3 years because one of our loved ones has passed away through a mysterious death, and we need to figure out what's actually going on. So we actually end up being back inside of Silvernia. And right from the gameplay showcase, you can really tell that there's definitely some form of like corporate monopolies out there. Like something seems like underground syndicates. Like just overall, just first impression, you can tell that there's a lot going on in this city that we have to fully explore. So overall, I just want to see like how will the overall engagement with the detective's narrative be? Will choices made by the player like ourselves generally just impact the story or just serve as dialogue options? Me personally, I would really enjoy if some of the choices we make as being a detective actually influences the story and influences gameplay. Maybe if you missed a clue or not, that might have to divert your plans for later in that mission. For some of you who may know, there's an old Rockstar game called LA Noire. They did a very good job of like doing detective-based work, and depending on how good you were as a detective actually dictated how well your entire rest of the game will be, or the rest of that case will be. So that's something that me personally, I would like to see inside of Silver Palace. But overall, I can't wait to dive into the story, understand a little bit more. But of course, we got to talk about another mainstay that I saw while watching the gameplay and the reveal is the visuals, man. Unreal Engine 5, it's promising a lot of stuff. Now, this game looks great. It's the high fidelity graphics, the detailed environments, and it has a cinematic quality to it as well. And the thing is, my only issue is, which I feel like Unreal Engine 5 should be good for this because it's just a widely known engine to be used for most games, but can the game maintain that visual fidelity we saw on the trailer across all the particular platforms, especially on mobile devices? What are the potential performance demands that we would need to be able to take care of this? PC, I think we're fine. Consoles were fine. It's just mainly Android and iOS is what I may have an issue with. Some people with older phones may not be able to get to enjoy this. And you want to, of course, make sure the game runs fine for some of the even just your consumer grade phones, right? You got your budget, your consumer, your high end. How well will Silver Palace work for those? I feel like with most PCs, we can run Unreal Engine 5 pretty well, depending on, of course, how old your PC is. But same thing with consoles, you should be fine as well. Speaking a little bit about that Victorian aesthetic, I want to kind of talk a little bit deeper into that. As you watch the gameplay trailer, it has this unique anime inspired art style, and it's being combined with that Victorian aesthetic. All of the characters that we got to see are very intricately designed, and the city combines like this old world charm with glowing magical tech. The visually stunning bits are, like Chris says, some of my early impressions when I was like actually watching this trailer. It's like the different characters just have this weird detail to them, and then like some of their eyes, like you can definitely tell this is an anime gacha game, and it's overall it looks good. I'm a big fan of the Victorian aesthetic. That is just I've always enjoyed that aesthetic. So just seeing it in the game, I'm like, they did a great job at this. And of course, we got the urban backdrops, which is pretty great. They have quite a diverse environment. The lighting's quite dynamic. But my mainstay is like, I want to really see how truly open and interactive will the world feel. will the visuals extend beyond like some of those scripted moments to just overall just general exploration and combat. But Silver Palace is certainly making a strong first impression with its intriguing premise and gorgeous visuals. The blend of detective work and action combat is definitely promising, to say the least. But however, as with any gacha game, the true test will be its monetization model, some of the long-term content, and how well it avoids the overall pitfalls of gacha games, because there's always gacha games that's always failing and getting end of service. I'm still sad about Tribe 9 getting its recent announcement of end of service, so it's hopefully this game is one of those that can stay and hang with the big dogs. But what are your thoughts on Silver Palace? Are you excited to pre-register? Are you waiting for more gameplay impressions maybe? Let me know in the comments below. So make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the episode. Other than that, stay safe out there. And it's been your host, KICTV, signing out. Peace.